Do we have the boys in tow? Hey, London calling, na. Wow, where did you get that? Where did you get that thing?
From London.
From London. Official Queen's Guard.
Wow. Wow. Would you get the child's version there? Or like, what is that? Why does it not go under the chin?
I got the headset on.
That's the problem.
Blame the audio equipment.
You know, you could go like this. Go like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're
I learned that from Alistair Overeem. Shout out. Or that.
Maybe we should cut away from his camera.
No, this is the best part. By the way, is Eric's camera better too? He seems crispier than usual.
You know what I think it is? It's
everything's changing.
I have a lot of good natural light in the house.
Oh, you look fantastic.
But this light is not great. Now that the days are getting longer, there's more daylight.
Okay.
By the time we get to this, the windows are giving me a little more, you know?
God, I got to tell you, I am so happy with the days getting longer. I mean, like I could just feel my mood better.
It's probably my favorite day of the year when
they change. Yeah, it's a bit of a. I mean, you'll see. New York Rick probably experienced it this week. You know, like when your kids have to get up on that Monday, it's a little tougher to get them up. Do you notice that? Or are your kids too young to even notice?
My kids are. I gotta say, my kids are pretty good in the morning. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, but my fifth grader, like
over there in Amber.
I was like,
yeah. See, no, they're still too young. They listen to what I say mostly when it comes to that type of stuff. And they still like going to school. My older one, who's in kindergarten, likes it because it's just fun and games. There's not real things going on there. So yeah. I don't sympathize, and I'm happy not to.
All right, so let's talk about UFC 286. Should we do the thing?
We should do the thing.
Yeah, let's randomize it. Let's see. Welcome back, Rick, by the way.
Thank you. I was rooting for you guys, but I am happy to be back.
All right, here we go.
Hey, that was a cool...
Wow. Ariel going first, Eric second, Frank third, and I am in last once again.
Ariel going first?
Yeah, I was wondering. I thought we lost you for a second.
You got. Let me go last.
Oh, you want to go last?
I'm doing something right now.
All right, so Rick goes first then.
Cool.
Rick, lead the way.
Easy. Yeah. As many of you know, I'm a man of principle. You know, I stand by the things I say and I have convictions. And I feel bad because on Monday there was a situation where something I said got a little bit misunderstood and misconstrued. To the point where Casey O'Neill had to call into the and kind of set me straight.
Yes.
My exact words were something like, "What has Casey O'Neill done?" By that, what I actually meant was Casey O'Neill is on the cusp of greatness, but hasn't gotten there yet. But she will get there. And so I've had this feeling, this pit in my stomach since Monday, and it didn't sit right with me. So now I'm going to rectify the situation as a man of principle. And we're going to ride with Casey O'Neill till the wheels fall off. So it's the Casey O'Neill hype train. Number one fan right here. Conductor of the Casey O'Neill hype train.
Well said.
Casey O'Neill is my pick for the Parlay Pals. Lock it up. She's going to get it done and on to bigger and better and greater things.
No argument from me.
I love it. I mean, you had to do this, right? It's the perfect hedge.
I had to. What do you mean hedge? We're not hedging anything.
It feels like the perfect hedge. Because if she loses, you say, I told you so.
Wow.
No, I would never do that.
We didn't tell so because he picked him.
I would never do that as the number one fan of Casey O'Neill. You couldn't get that out of me with torture. But it won't matter anyway. This is a dub. This is a lock. Casey O'Neill.
Wow.
Let's get it done. And I'm making amends for my mistake of Monday. Casey O'Neill, lock it up.
All right, Frank.
Yeah. So not quite as elegant as Rick, but we interviewed this person, had a really captivating story. I've been interested to see what her next fight would be like. Had her opponent on earlier today, and I'm still going to go with Killer Miller moneyline.
Not worried after the interview earlier today? By the way, this camera really makes the hat look great. Now we're really popping off, in my opinion.
No, I'm not worried.
Oh, yeah, I guess not, though. Okay.
Now it looks like you have an even bigger beard.
I like it. It's a good look. We're gonna stick with it.
The Macedo interview, Rick, did you listen to it? She sounds pretty confident.
Yeah. Listen, she sounds very confident. She sounds very prepared. But you know what I trust above all else?
What's
I
that?
trust Frank.
That's
I trust in
right.
Frank.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. This guy Rick's turned a new leaf. All right, that'll bring us to me. Listen, I mean, he's been in the news a lot this week. Controversies swirling around him, his name being tarnished and slandered. That's not what I do. I don't do things like that. I am the front man of Jack Shore Army, of Team Tank. I will be taking Jack Shore money line. The featherweight debut, we get a dub to start it out. Plus 134 now on the parlay.
Wow. This might be. Is this the highest we are going into the fourth slot?
No. I don't think so. We've had a couple bigger than plus 200.
I love that pick because you know that even if he's losing, there might be a way for him to win at the end. You know? You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
There's some way that he might find a way.
Wow. The questioning of the integrity by old Rick. And that leads us to Ariel.
Yes. Is that me?
Yeah, you need us to stall for enough?
I'm just doing a bunch of stuff here.
Fights?
Yeah, how are the other fights looking? Okay, wait, can you remind me, just do a quick recap of where we're at?
So right now,
Yes?
Rick went first, took Casey O'Neill. Frank second, Juliana Miller, and then I just went third. I took...
A bit rude to our lovely guest, Veronica Hardy, no, Frank? I mean,
Yeah, we were discussing
You were discussing that?
Is he
Okay.
nervous about what she had to say? She seems very confident. Dan seems very confident. And then I took Jack Shore.
Oh, you took Jack Shore. I was looking at Jackie.
Ariel, you can't pick Jack Shore.
No, I know.
You're in a blood feud right now.
And who took Muhammad Mokaev?
Nobody.
Oh, really? As the last pick, I get the minus 800? Oh my God! Wow. Listen, I'll tell you this much. I've made a kill. I think I've picked him every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Me and Frank sat and talked for 5 minutes about how much of a lock it is that you were going to take Muhammad.
Can I?
And then they left it for you.
I'm feeling good right now. You know why? I just secured a Katie Taylor broadcast spot.
Yeah.
Francis dropped all kinds of bombs on us unexpectedly. Can I
What
tell you
happened
what
in those texts?
there's things happening in the text.
Oh, baby.
Okay.
There's things happening in the text.
Any line movement?
It's Minner-esque, but the opposite way now.
Shut up.
It's the other guy. Who was the other guy?
Charlie and Norton
Norton
Becker.
Yes,
All-time
it was
fight.
that guy. There's a lot. Okay, someone call up best fight odds right now. I'm feeling a little bit froggy.
Whoa.
Oh.
Are you gonna do that?
It's your pick, dude.
It's locked in.
Oh, Leon Edwards. Oh, Leon Edwards.
I have to say,
Yes.
literally every single one of our picks was based on an emotional attachment and zero to do with the actual odds or the,
I love it.
the value.
I love it.
Every single one.
Wait, what does it make it if I go with Leon?
Plus 614.
Wow. Is that the greatest ever?
Yeah.
Oh,
We've never
You're putting a
put
plus 205 underdog in there.
we've never put a dog in, I don't think. Even like any dog.
really?
Have we? I don't think so. I think we put some fighters that are like close to even, but I don't think we've ever put a dog.
I feel all right with it.
I feel, you know what?
It's your pick.
I don't feel all right with it.
We lose them.
I don't feel all right with it.
We lose these parlays anyway.
No.
We might as well go big.
Listen, I don't feel all right with it.
Oh, wow.
I feel fucking
Oh, wow.
tastic. Leon Edwards, lock it in.
Whoa.
I love it. I love
Big.
it. If we're going to lose them, we might as well go big
Yeah.
odds anyway.
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Okay, let's not.
I'm with that.
I feel like we're gonna
What,
have.
Frank, we lose every week anyway.
I feel like
come
we're
on.
gonna have the most activity ever on this one.
I think
Listen,
we're gonna have
There's
I feel
gonna
like we need a pep rally.
Listen,
there's gonna be some chatter. There's gonna be some chatter.
You want to know
about
a secret behind the gambling, sphere?
yeah. Tell me.
You got to hold your headphones like that.
People love, there they fall off. People love big odds.
People love
Yeah.
big odds.
No matter
Even when
how
they
much-
lose.
Yes. People would rather lose on a plus 3,000 than win on a minus 110. I really believe.
Yeah, I learned that
Yeah,
when
that's
I was
right.
talking about Tatiana Suarez, and everyone said I was dumb for going with the sure thing. I was like, well, I'd rather make $3 than lose my $10. You know what I mean? But I get where you're coming from,
No, this is fun. I like.
and I don't think this is a stretch. listen,
This is fun.
I think Usman is an incredible fighter. I think he's one of the greatest UFC champions of all time. I have concerns about the knockout. And, Leon fighting at home. Leon looks to be in finale. Does Leon Edwards have the smallest waist in the history of waist? Like, have you ever seen this guy? It goes like from here to there. It's like an actual V. I don't know.
I'm gonna put up.
This is not great fight analysis here, I just want to say, but he just looks to be in tremendous shape.
I'm gonna put up Phil Davis as the most triangular shape I've
Phil
ever
Davis.
seen in MMA.
Phil Davis
But
is something.
Leon's got a good physique for sure.
Phil Davis is something. Yeah, you're right. Phil Davis is something. All right, let's go with Leon Edwards.
All right,
Lock
there
it
it
up.
is. It's plus
Lock it in.
614. The parlay.
By far, I don't even know if we've ever had like a plus 300.
Yeah, I think our biggest was like a plus 280.
You know who's going to love
I
this?
love it. Who?
Our good friends over at DraftKings.
DraftKings is gonna love.
They're going to
this.
love this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait, now it's a pay-per-view. Do we get a boost here or what?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Is that still a
maybe.
thing? I feel like you
That'd be a
haven't mentioned
big.
that.
That'd be a nice big parlay.
Yeah,
for
we haven't
people out
gotten a
there.
boost in a while.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, I can talk to the people. Don't worry. I'm in their ear.
We could change some lives this weekend.
All right. Your turn.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's start with the fight that Frank took his winner from. Juliana Miller, Veronica Hardy. I'm actually not taking a winner in this one. What I'm going to do is take the fight does not go to a decision. If you just
Interesting.
watch the way that Juliana Miller fights, like Killer Miller is a real thing. She is hunting for finishes. She is aggressive. She tries to get it to the mat. She looks for subs. I feel like going back and watching tape, it feels like almost every fight, if not once, twice, she's in full mount, raining down elbows or going for chokes. She really looks to finish fights. Hardy, she has been finished. We've seen her struggle off her back, but she's also found success grabbing arm bars off her back. Like, she finishes fights as well. 3 of her UFC fights haven't gone to a decision. Miller, in her pro career, if you're counting the tough fights, 4 of her 6 pro fights have not gone to a decision. Think this one is going to be pretty hectic. Maybe makes me a little worried that Hardy was on the show earlier saying she's going to be more cautious and not as wild, but I still like this at almost even odds to not go to a decision. Next up, I mean, does it really take an explanation from me at this point? As you can see, I don't have odds on it yet. I'm waiting for the 2.5 number to drop on Jake Hadley, Malcolm Gordon. But this is a flyweight fight. Therefore, we will be taking the under. I just want to give you a couple stats for the doubters that are still out there, because I know they still are. Men's flyweight fights, 125 pounds, sanctioned in the UFC in 2023. Going under, it is currently 7-0. 5 first-round finishes. I know you're going to be like, oh, but what about that road to the UFC fight? There you go.
Yeah.
It was a road to the UFC fight. It actually still finished. It missed by, 31 seconds, but it was a road to the UFC fight. You're going to say, oh, what about Charles Johnson, Ode Osborne? That was actually a catch weight of 130. So if you go back, all the 125 UFC bouts, 7-0 on the under, 5 first-round finishes. And what's going to change in this one? I mean, Malcolm Gordon, 17 of his 20 fights have not gone to a decision, 11 first-round finishes for him. He has never lost by decision. And who better to add to that than Jake Hadley? I mean, he could knock him out on the feet. Malcolm Gordon doesn't have great defensive striking, and he could also choke him out. I mean, Malcolm Gordon has a 9% takedown defense, so if it gets to the mat, I could see Jake Hadley also subbing him. I could also see Malcolm Gordon getting a sub. That's a path to victory for him as well. I see this fight getting finished, so I like the under 2.5. Whatever the line's going to be, I think it's going to be around -150, -160. But when that drops, I will be taking it. Makhachev Filho. We get another flyweight fight on this one. This one I'm a little bit more cautious of. Makhachev, he's more of a wrestler. He's more of a grappler. I know he got the submission last year in London, but 2 overs in a row for him. I'm a little bit more cautious, but still, Filho is very dangerous. He has 14 wins. I believe 13 of them coming inside the distance. 14 of his 16 pro fights have not gone to a decision. And then Makhachev, I mean, still, 7 of his 10 pro fights have not gone to a decision. There's a questionable record in there on Tapology for 1 opponent and 1 no contest, but still, I think there's a chance that Makhachev locks up a sub here, or Filho takes a risk and gets a finish himself. Moving on, a prospect out of the UK, Christian Leroy Duncan, a Cage Warriors champion, as you can see by the picture there. I mean, just going back and watching the film on this one, Christian Leroy Duncan, he's only 7-0, I believe, but he has a ton of amateur fights. I mean, he's been in the octagon, been in the cage since he was 20. He's got a ton of experience, super dynamic striker. He's got a toolbox. He has got an arsenal on the feet. He's always moving. He's very tricky. And against a guy like Dusko, I think he's going to find a lot of success. Dusko doesn't really move his head off the center line. He gets hit, and we've seen him finish. We've seen him overwhelmed. Now, one thing that does worry me, going back and watching it, Christian Leroy Duncan has been taken down. We have seen him controlled for the latter parts of rounds. That could happen here with Dusko. He does have wrestling success from time to time. But the thing is, CLD has got a great gas tank on him. I think he'll, weather the storm, avoid, dangerous situations, and eventually, after Dusko tires out, if he does get the takedowns, he'll be able to finish him and get out of there. Moving on. Another Chris Duncan, what a treat. We get 2 Chris Duncans on one card, am I right?
Oh, yeah.
This one, I cannot wait for this one. Someone asked you earlier about a fight you're most excited for. This is one of them, just because it is going to be electric. If you've got 5 minutes, just go back and watch a couple of Chris Duncan fights. Like, he throws caution to the wind. He is there to brawl. He is there to have fun. His Contender Series fight against Charlie Campbell lasts less than 2 minutes. He gets dropped twice, and then it looks like he's about to get finished, and he just throws a bomb off the cage and ends up finishing Charlie Campbell, puts him flat out. He gets hit. He hits people. It is just a brawl when this guy steps into the octagon. And I think Morales is going to be willing to engage in that. He's a great counter striker, which I think is going to cause Duncan problems. He will throw haymakers off the counter, and he's willing to engage in a brawl. I think in front of this crowd, his UFC debut, they are going to brawl. They're going to engage, and someone is going to get knocked out. Duncan, he has one fight that's gone to a decision in his career, and if you go back and watch it, it was just like it felt like it was going to get finished, multiple times over. Jonathan Carlos, shout out to him because he has got a hell of a chin on him. I don't know how he survived that onslaught from Chris Duncan, but think this will be a brawl. Think someone gets put out. Cannot wait for that. Next up, King Casey O'Neill, friend of the program.
Oh, yeah.
How could I not back her here? At the end of the day, biases aside, I think she's going to be able to out-volume Jennifer Maia. If you look back at Maia's career, she's never been the most high-volume striker. She's been outstruck in 8 of her 10 fights, and now she's getting one of the highest-volume strikers in the flyweight division throughout the 4 fights in her UFC career. She's landing over 8 significant strikes a minute. If she is coming back healthy, obviously the injury does concern me a little bit. If she's coming back healthy and she's able to get her strikes off, I think she's just going to outpoint Maia to a decision. Both these girls are really tough. If Shevchenko couldn't finish Maia, I don't really see Casey O'Neill doing it, but I see her outpointing her over the 15 minutes to a decision. Main event time. You're not going to be happy with it, but I've bet on Kamaru Usman every time I've watched him fight, and I'm just not going to stop now, especially at this
against
price.
The team, jeez.
The success that he had throughout the first fight before Leon found that incredible shot. I think he'll be able to find similar successes in this one. I think he'll fight more cautiously, and I think he gets his hand raised and New gets the belt back in front of the London crowd. And then lastly, a parlay, and this is only 8-9 bets this week. Keeping it tighter, restricting myself. Smaller for a pay-per-view card. I go Jack Shore, I already mentioned. I think he's better everywhere in that fight. Gunnar Nelson, crystal clear path to victory with the grappling. Brian Barberena has been taken down 26 times in his last 6 fights. The path to victory is clear for him. And then Usman Edwards over 1.5. I think that goes along likely to a decision. And those are the picks for UFC 286.
Can we take a small step back?
Please.
Level and by the way, shout out watch party this Saturday, yeah?
Oh, watch party. We will
in prime time, 5:00.
Cannot wait.
Main
Best
card
watch party
start.
ever.
How good is that?
Probably go till, as you said, maybe 8:30 if all goes well. Only one title fight, so it shouldn't go too far past 8:00 if we're being honest. And the UK is only 4 hours. They're getting a proper pay-per-view like we would here in America, and good on them. I'm happy for them. They deserve that. Level of excitement, guys. Can we just talk as fans here for a moment? I can't wait for this. I've said
9.
it. 9? 9 out of 10?
9.
For the whole,
I can't wait.
for the whole
card,
shebang?
Yes. There's something about these London cards. I love them. I'm going to wake up, me and Frank, we're going to do the English breakfast. It's going to be fantastic. There's There's few things I've learned to enjoy more than a London fight card day so far.
Rick?
Not quite that high. 7.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Rain on the parade.
Why? Why not so high?
I mean, it convinced me. Why be higher?
It's a great, okay. UK champ, fighting back home, defending his belt, coming off one of the greatest finishes, the greatest knockouts, the greatest moments, right? The most shocking moments in the history of the sport. Immediate rematch against the dominant champion who had not lost up until that point. But this time, they're on the actual home turf of the guy with the belt. UK crowds historically are incredible. They're getting one of their own in the main event as champion. They're getting their pay-per-view. You know they're going to be super hyped. I mean, all these elements just make for a really special night.
Patty.
I don't give a fuck.
Tommy.
Nah, I don't give a fuck.
Come on. Can I interest you in Chris Duncan, Omar Morales?
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly,
there's some fights on the card. I
this
think
fight is so big that it makes up for the rest.
you're gonna watch Omar Morales, Chris Duncan, and you're gonna be like, man, GC was right.
I probably will do that.
By the way,
That
the
is
main
correct.
card is not bad. I know it doesn't have the usual suspects.
Let me set the scene. Co-main, Rafael Fiziev,
Co-main is
Justin
great.
Gaethje, just in an absolute war. Someone gets finished late in the third round. The crowd is going absolutely bananas. Kamaru Usman makes his walk. Everyone is just hyped to the gills, and then here comes Leon Rocky Edwards in front of his home crowd. The roof gets torn off the place, and then it's just an all-time classic 5-rounder. I mean, what could be better?
I'm seeing this tweet right here from Mike Bond. Just literally tweeted it. Justin Gaethje has 10 bonuses in 10 UFC fights and is the only fighter in UFC history to a bonus in each of his first 7 fights in the octagon. That's insane.
Yeah. What better a dance party than Rafael?
Gaethje's a highlight. Earlier today in the press conference, in the media day, he said he's the most exciting fighter in UFC history, and I find it hard to argue with. Like moment to moment, it's him, Silva, Rousey, like rarefied air for sure.
Rousey.
Not Rousey?
I just
about to say, are you out of your mind?
Connor's in that mix.
Yeah, Connor's definitely in that mix.
If you're at a 7 for this, we're
Michael
7 point.
By the way, Michael Chandler has a case for that mix as well. As far as his UFC run is concerned,
not as long of a resume, but
Sure.
definitely he's getting there.
Yeah.
You guys got me to a 7.5. I mean, I just can't come. We can't come off the return of John Jones and everything becomes a 9. Like then there's no room for moving upward. I can't get there.
Right, what do you have for UFC San Antonio next week?
Who, me or Eric?
Less.
Eric.
Oh, well, no,
Less.
by the way, I love that one. I love the main event. But can I just offer you this as far as why this feels bigger? The return of John Jones was a very big deal, and him fighting at heavyweight made it even more interesting, and him not fighting in 3 years, more interesting and all that. But would you agree that that was because of John Jones? Like, if it would have been John versus Curtis Blades or John versus Sergey Spivak, it all kind of would have been the same level of excitement. You still would have been as excited. It wouldn't have taken anything away. What makes this so great is it's these two guys who have a history, the finish in the last fight. How does this isn't just the Leon story too. Let's not forget. I know he gets a lot of the attention this time around. This is very much the Usman story, right? Usman coming back, getting the belt back. Was that an anomaly? That's what makes this even more fun. But now it's in the UK. Usman walking out as the B-side first.
It's compelling. I like it. I like the matchup a lot. And the questions that I have about Kamaru Usman, I'm excited to find the answers to, but yeah, I just can't. John Jones trumps both of those guys.
Even if it's just John Jones
combined.
Versus anyone.
John Jones versus...
Listen, if it was John versus Francis, I get it. John versus Francis, I get it.
Okay, so if that's a 9, what's John versus Francis? A 12? Like the scale is broken if that's a 9.
No, it's a 9.5. It's 9.5.
9. Oh, that's a 9.5.
Yeah.
That's a 15 on that scale. John versus Francis.
Can we talk briefly about Francis? I mean,
I have said this multiple places, but I am compelled to reiterate it.
Please.
I feel like Francis Ngannou is too good a human for combat sports. Is that controversial to say, or is that not fair to say? Because
there's a lot of good people
humans.
in combat sports. By the way, I want this segment to go as long as possible, just so GC could be as uncomfortable as possible with that. That's what I'm hoping for here.
I'm trying to find the magic spot here
It's
to
the
where I can
ruffling.
stop holding my.
Yeah, no, it's.
I think I may have just gotten it now.
This is the longest Parlay Pal segment of all time for this
Should we
reason
get
only.
the gaff tape?
I think I got it. Yeah, you want to tape me up?
in any event, no, he's a tremendous guy. I just the way he like brushes off,
the way he handles himself and comports himself, he has every reason. Look, Dana White is coming out and saying we're never going to do business again, right?
which is such a
every
silly
reason
thing to say.
to be
There's
bitter.
actually no reason to ever say that, by the way.
Yeah, and I think Francis doesn't really take it seriously, as he said, right?
Sure.
Like he's like Dana says one thing, and then the wind blows, and the next day he changes his mind. But with that in mind, and all the things that have been said about him, and all the efforts to kind of minimize him and erase him, and all these things, he has every reason to be bitter. And publicly, he has done nothing but take a very objective and fair approach to everything, in a way that I don't think most people would. I certainly wouldn't. I don't have that in me to be as humble and gracious as Francis Ngannou has been. Whether he has made a financial mistake or whether it's been successful, and all these things are kind of irrelevant to that part of it, right? Like how he has handled himself as a person, I think is separate, very separate from kind of what this turns out to be for his fighting career. And as far as that, the grades are in, and that's an A+ for me. Like he is just handling this as great as you possibly could, and I'm in awe of it. I admire it because I know that inside I don't have that. I don't have what he has.
Level of interest, Deontay.
In Francis's boxing,
Deontay and Francis.
10.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is like I'm guaranteed to watch it. There's no doubt there. Like, there's no way that I miss it. A 10? Yeah, like that's the interest. I would, if Francis Ngannou boxes Deontay Wilder, I can guarantee you I will be in front of the TV when it happens.
Oh my God, what a scene!
I like that fight more than any. Like Fury and Ngannou, and especially when they started talking about the dumb like rule changes, never really got there on that. Like I'll watch it because of the spectacle. I'm compelled by Francis and Deontay. I'm very compelled.
What do you think the odds would be? Are there odds for that?
I have a feeling that Deontay Wilder would be
A big favorite.
Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And what about this? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I know he's done a few interviews over the last few days. Him saying it's down to PFL and 1, I thought was really.
I'd never heard that before.
I haven't seen anyone like really putting that out there. Like
even today.
I don't know why Ngannou.
We put it out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I don't follow.
Before that.
What do you mean before that? He said this prior to today?
No.
I'm saying he hasn't.
Oh, got it.
I had never even thought of 1. Francis going to 1. And they just canceled their heavyweight fight.
The Argent Buller one?
Yeah, the unification.
Maybe that's a little bit of fortune. Okay, where would you rather him go?
Reporting from MMA fighting.
What'd you say? Where would you rather him go? PFL or 1?
1.
Wow. Why?
I think there's more opportunity for him to do more fun things, more fun fights. Doesn't have to be tied to an organization whose primary thing is the tournaments. I know that they're in this pay-per-view business, and that Jake Paul is kind of heading up. But that it feels more inflexible. I would rather see the doors opened a little bit. I feel like there's just more variables and opportunities with 1. If he was a tournament guy, if it was like he was like, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna win the tournament and all this stuff, I'd probably be more interested in it. But I don't think that's the case, right? I assume
no, it would be a one-off. How wild would it be if he ends up on PFL and he's back in the ESPN orbit? Like they're promoting him.
ESPN would be happy, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, I like this. I actually it's healthy. I've always said this, that it's great that ESPN is in the PFL and UFC business. It is so healthy, and we know the UFC doesn't love it, but it's so good that ESPN airs 2 different, MMA promotions. It's something we've never seen before, right? UFC, Fox, nothing else. Spike, nothing else. Showtime, Strikeforce, nothing else. Bellator, nothing else. This is so good for the sport, and I think it would be great. But I'm down for both. If he's on 1, great. I want to see Francis do MMA again. I don't want him to just be a boxer. He's got to have 1 more MMA fight. Like we need some sort of,
I think, but it has to be an opponent, right? Like I don't want to just see him do MMA
not in
for
the
sake of MMA.
How is Bellator?
I was about to say we gave them some praise for their champions on Monday. Did they blow it here?
I mean, okay. So let me break the fourth wall if I can. Bellator very mad at me because I dare to say after the championship that PFL was number 2, right? Or at least in consideration. So they're all upset. They're all upset about this. But listen, we tell it like it is over here. Now on Monday, when I said this, they're like, oh, there he was a few months ago saying that. Now he's jumping on the back. Going, no, that's not how this works. By the way, a lot of things have happened in the last few months. And number 2, what did we say on Monday? We said the champions are all great and they all stack up. The problem is the drop off after the champions, right? And there's nothing in place right now like the PFL championship night, which feels important. And there's no stories being created like Olivier Aubin-Mercier getting a win of that stature, Larissa Pacheco getting a win of that stature, a Brendan Loughnane. They don't have that stuff right now. Also, I do like what they're doing in Europe. Let's see what happens. I mean, it's just like a concept right now. Let's see what happens. But that being said, of course, I put the Bellator champions above the PFLs and above ones and above anyone outside of the UFC. But if they're not at the seat, if they don't have a seat at the table for Francis Ngannou, I don't like what is going on. I don't know what's like.
Sounds like that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, Francis was pretty open and transparent. I don't know why, but
now I did say a few months ago, they're on the market. Maybe that has something to do with it, and we'll see how that plays out. But man, a guy of Francis's stature is available, no strings attached. You got to figure that one out, right? And I don't think that was Francis playing games, right? I don't think that was Francis like negotiating in public by mentioning those two. I really appreciate him mentioning those two. But like, wow, that to me was shocking. I thought he was going to say PFL or Bellator.
I mean, when he said them, I was like, wow, I can't believe you just said those.
Yeah. Shout out.
One has this way. They just collect talent. They find ways. And it's not always MMA talent, right? There's a lot of jiu-jitsu players that are over there that are really, really high level. There's kickboxing and Muay Thai that they have that are really high level. I'd say arguably MMA is like one of their least developed sports that they have in terms of the roster, but they just find a way to have talent and put on big shows and do compelling fights. I think there's something that could be really beneficial to Francis Ngannou and one, but I wouldn't mind Francis on a pay-per-view for PFL fighting somebody they're willing to spend money. They can find him a good opponent. I'm game for either of those options, but I do feel like, man, if you're Bellator, how is this not a foregone conclusion? Like
right.
Whatever he needs, that offer should have been made.
I'm very curious to see once PFL starts April 1st, like how involved Jake is going to be in all that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's the uncertainty of all of that, of like what this pay-per-view thing is, and the Jake Paul aspect is probably why I'm like leaning. I think one might be a more clean and smooth destination, but could be big, could also be huge.
All right.